Hi, everyone. Lisa Haven here. Well, so many things are happening right now with the U.S. economy. As you know, war has spiked between Russia and Ukraine. We're in the middle of a war right now, not to mention the crisis of the COVID-19 pandemic. Both of these catastrophes have had massive devastations on our economy. So what I wanted to do in today's broadcast is bring on an economic insider who's got real information on what's going on with the economy. And not only that, but how you can prepare and be ready for the devastation that's ahead. In fact, thousands of Americans have already positioned themselves to be ready for what's going to hit America. And I don't see it getting better economically here in the U.S. In fact, as long as Biden and the Democrats are in charge, I see things getting worse. So with me today, I've got Colin Plume at noblegoldinvestments.com. So Colin, are you with me over there?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Lisa. And I think you're right. It's like, unfortunately, it's sort of the perfect storm for the economy, in that you have a situation where they report the highest inflation that we've seen in almost 20 years, above 7% now, and you couple that with the Fed deciding to raise interest rates to hopefully slow down inflation, but they obviously they don't want to slow down the economy either. So they're sort of in a pickle with raising interest rates, because if interest rates get too high, corporations and people that are buying homes, or businesses that need to borrow money, it's going to cost them a lot more to sort of do that. We've already seen prices go up for mortgages, commercial lending, the cost is getting more expensive. So the Fed's in a really difficult situation. What they've always done for the last, since basically 9/11, is they just cut interest rates. But now that they're reporting inflation above 7%, they're sort of mandated to raise interest rates so that inflation goes back to the level that the Fed is sort of required to keep inflation around 2%. So we have a massive gap between treasury bonds paying 1.5%, inflation at 7%. It's a 5.5% gap. So they need to move the needle up in terms of interest rates, but it could slow down the economy. So the Fed just really doesn't know what to do. And then you add in this, what's happening in the Ukraine, and the price of commodities has just absolutely skyrocketed, from gold, from silver, from palladium. Palladium, 40% of the world's palladium is mined in Russia. They use palladium in all the new catalytic converters and these new cars that we're making. So there's a big trickle down in terms of all the things that are happening, and then the cost. I mean, everyone is seeing it. Gasoline prices have skyrocketed. I mean, it's scary to go to the gas pump right now. It's just, people are shocked by it.
Yeah, and Biden's been telling us, hey, it's going to go up and up and up, especially with this war. And it's not just gas prices. If gas goes up the way that Biden is even telling us, admitting that it is, then we also have to think of the shipping, the trucks, the planes, all the stuff that carry our product. They're all going to increase their prices, causing much more inflation to hit the United States of America. And we've got some of the worst inflation levels I think we've seen in a very long time. I believe in over 40 years. But I mean, and the Fed, right? You have the Biden administration, it's two screws loose of, whatever. He's got some issues, but they keep putting in the same people at the Fed. Like literally, let's just, keep putting the same people in over there who are really haven't handled any kind, done good with inflation or any of that. So I predict that we're going to continue to go up in inflation. We're going to have more skyrocketing prices. Would you agree with all of this, right? This is what you've been saying.
Yeah, and I think, like, this summer was supposed to be the big, great summer where things were going to bounce back with travel. The Expedia CEO was saying, like, this is probably the biggest travel year ever. But if you have gasoline prices continue to go at these numbers, I think it's going to put a damper on a lot of the vacations that people were sort of thinking about doing. So that's why, the one thing that I do agree with is the move towards renewable energy, because at the end of the day, getting into these cars, getting an electric car, if gasoline prices are going to go to 8, 9, $10, people are going to wish they were in an electric vehicle. So, and how do you get to that point now? How do you move in that direction? We're far away from having enough silver to having enough of those electric cars on the road to really to supply the demand that's gonna be there and that's gonna continue to be there. And then you got to think a lot of these countries that are seeing the future in silver, seeing electric energy, they're just going to raise prices on oil whenever they can, because if the demand's going to shrink, they need to make sure that they're monetizing as best they can. If the demand for oil is going to go down dramatically over the next 10, 15 years, it's a money grab. And that's really what I think a lot of people are talking about. There's some significant money grab situations in commodities right now, and it's sort of happening across the board. Now, with the stock market, we've seen it. The Dow, if people look at their accounts, I don't know if they look at it daily or weekly. Maybe you don't want to look at your account. You're putting your head in the sand, but this is going to be a down year, I think, for the most part in the stock market. Now, will it trend back over years? Of course, it'll always trend back, but I think this year we're going to see a lot of turmoil in the stock market, because I think a lot of it is built. The stock market is really built on this cheap money. The Fed's already determined that they have to raise interest rates, so that the money's going to get more expensive. So they're not going to be able to rebuy stocks at these really low prices. So that's going to affect the stock market. So I think a lot of people right now are transitioning, and they're just looking for hedges or safety plays in their portfolio. People are getting nervous. They're getting safe. And unfortunately, one of the places that people used to go is just put money in cash, right? Just go back into cash and be safe. But when you're losing 7% minimum of your money right now, it's not really an option. Every $100, you're losing 7%. It's a big number.
And let me just pause right there and add you're absolutely correct in what you're saying. And the thing is, we are in the middle of a perfect storm. Like you said earlier, we had the COVID crisis. Now we have the war crisis. Phase 1, COVID, phase 2, war, potential World War III, God forbid. Phase 3, probably the Great Reset, with what's going on. And God, I hope not, because nobody wants that. That's a World Economic Forum devious plan, all Agenda 2030, the whole 9 yards. But with what you're saying, with this perfect storm, my question to you is, thousands of Americans are now preparing, getting ready for something, for this economic crisis that's here and that's about to get worse. How do these people prepare? Because you said gold, money's not going to be worth what it is. I know gold right now is going up. Let me show some of these articles I got. And the first one here, CNBC, gold heads for record peak as Ukrainian inflation risk mounts. We have Ukraine war sends gold towards records. We have, is 3K next for gold price after breaching all-time highs? That's interesting. U.S. senators want to target Russia's gold reserves. And palladium steadies from record high on Ukraine crisis. So I obviously think there are solutions. And I want to encourage you guys, go to noblegoldinvestment.com. Check it out, because you can talk to somebody there. They don't hassle you, by the way. Talk about what's going on and how you can diversify your profile, because these are some of the solutions. But I know I kind of dragged on. Colin, what are the solutions for these people? What can they do?
We deal in the physical metal, and obviously that's what everybody wants right now. The demand is so high for physical gold, silver. Palladium has been skyrocketing. But I was reading an article recently about silver, and when the Hunt brothers tried to corner the market in the early 1980s and silver hit $50 an ounce, just to give somebody some perspective, there was a few hundred uses for silver, industrial uses. Right now, they said there's almost 12,000 different industrial uses for silver. I mean, the solar panels, and that's just the big one that sort of everybody talks about, are electric vehicles. When you look at cars, cars in terms of digital, electric, all these pieces, it used to be 20 years ago, 5% of our car was made up of these components. They say by 2030, almost 50% of our car is going to have a lot of these electrical, components in there that are going to have silver in it. So everything's sort of trending in the way. So obviously we love to talk about gold, and gold is much more rare than silver, but silver is definitely undervalued as an industrial metal right now. It's obviously very affordable, and it's still basically half of where it was of its all-time high. We're still sitting in the mid 20s, high 26s right now. So it still has a lot of potential to grow. I think gold obviously does too. Gold is really the safe haven of all of those precious metals. It's the one that the central banks just buy. And even I think we talked about this, but Russia's getting back into the game. They're buying gold again. They want to buy more gold. I don't know why they stopped buying gold for 2 years. They stopped buying gold for 2 years, which was a big mistake, obviously, with everything that's going on there. So they're getting back into the gold market. They're going to be buying gold. I don't know where they're going to get it from, or how they're going to get it, but they want to buy gold. So you have all these buyers of gold right now, from central banks to all across the board. ETFs are flying right now for gold. But what we do is the physical. So you don't have to worry. People call us and they're always like, am I going to get that gold coin? Am I going to get that gold bar? Am I going to get that? That's what you're going to get. That's what we do. We don't do, there's no ETF, there's no fund, there's no one. I can't do anything. I'm shipping it, it's storing it if you want it stored. So you have control. Ultimately, that's the thing that people want right now, is they want to take back control of their retirement. And that's something that we can help them out with a gold IRA or silver IRA. We have people live. We're working 7 days a week right now. Our phones are open 6 days a week. So our team is trying to keep up with the demand. Obviously, it's through the roof right now. It's unbelievable. But if people want to learn about what we do, they can call us and get free information. And then they make the decision if metals are the right place for them. But we're shipping metals even during this pandemic. At the end of it here, we're shipping it when a lot of companies are dry with gold and silver. We're shipping quickly. So the demand is there. We're getting it out as quickly as we can. But it's really an exciting time in the precious metals market.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, and this is why I bring you on, because it really is something that I absolutely believe in. When our economy is literally tanking, we're talking about, the dollar going haywire, to put it in a different term, but the dollar no longer being dominant. We want to have some kind of diversified profile, gold, silver, precious metals, like you said, and this is the kind of way that I think thousands of Americans are protecting themselves from these things. And I think, it's not just gold and silver that you can purchase. And by the way, you can put your 401k, you can convert that into some kind of IRA, a Roth IRA backed by gold, silver, precious metals. And that's what Noble Gold Investments can do for you as well. So I encourage you to do that, because things have happened to 401ks in the past that are not good. People have lost them with these kind of economic crises that we've run into. So this is just a way to kind of protect that. And not only that, I think other things that you can also do to protect yourself, you can buy tangible goods, you can get comic books or land, or, there's all kinds of things that people can invest in, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And real estate, obviously is going up everywhere, and the demand is, and it's obviously moving to the red states. All the smart money is buying, real estate. They're buying land in the red states, places where people are getting a better tax bracket, where they're really able to grow their portfolios. And now with people mostly working from home, right? I mean, some people are going back, but a lot people are shifting their mindset. They don't have to be in the big city anymore. They can move out to the outskirts, get a little bit more space. But that people are going to continue to grow out of these cities. I know cities like Phoenix and a lot of places in Florida, places where it's sort of more of tax haven type places. Those places are going crazy. Texas is obviously booming. But yeah, there's still a lot of opportunities. And at the end of the day, real estate and gold are so similar in that you're buying a limited supply, right? They can't make more land. It's the same premise. And obviously there's more work with land to build it. But I mean, right now I have friends and I invest in real estate too. But yeah, being diversified, having different assets, and being prepared is really the thing that most people look out for. And I look at it when I buy real estate, I think I'm going to have to hold this for a while. The nice thing about gold is that if I need the money for whatever reason, I can liquidate it at any time. You can't liquidate real estate. You can liquidate real estate in 2 days or 3 days if you want, but you're not going to get a good price for it. So if you want to maximize, you got to market it and get out there. So I think at the end of the day, limited supply items that people want is really the name of the game right now. And that's why you're seeing things go up. And that's why you're still seeing real estate really go actually pretty well, considering loans have gone up almost 150 basis points. You think there'd be a big pullback in real estate, but at the end of the day, people want to live in these places, so the demand is high, and so that will always continue. Yeah, we'll have some bumps. Maybe the market pulls back a bit, but in the long run, these are both great items to have for the long term.
Yeah, and other things that I'll add as well is make sure, the basics that we talk about all the time, make sure you have food on hand, especially in this crisis right now, some kind of food storage or just extra food. Always buy extra when you go to the grocery store so you're just ready. And of course, your basics, your needs, make sure you have this necessities as well. Protection for you and your family also. So all those things prepping wise as well, which a lot of you are aware of. Anyhow, do you have any concluding thoughts, comments? How can people get a hold of you, Colin? All that information.
Yeah, I mean, 877-646-5347. Also, I saw you talk about. I love our new free coin for the IRA. I love that it's a beautiful 3-ounce coin. It is a limited edition. I know a lot of people talk about limited. There's 1,500 of the proof, which you have, which is the proof finish, and there's 1,500 of the antique, and that's it. So there's going to be 3,000 of these coins in the 3-ounce. We're going to make a 10-ounce version of it, but most people are going to buy this 3-ounce. So if they do an IRA, they're going to get that coin for free delivered to their doorstep, so they get a little piece of it in their hand. So I'm excited about that. I set aside a pretty good amount for my family, my kids. But ultimately, I think right now it's about learning, it's about educating yourself. And the one thing I think is that people can call us and get good information. They're not going to get pressured, and they're going to learn about what we do. So whatever they decide, you call us. Someone friendly is going to answer your call, and you can learn about precious metals and then make a determination on what's best for you and your family.
And here's that coin, by the way. I'll hold it up to the computer screen. This thing is awesome. One of the coolest ones I've seen. It's got Thomas Jefferson on the front in 3D. This thing is really cool. So I've got one of a 1,500. I'm really excited about that. But with that, I wanted to tell you guys, all the information can be found in the description box below for noblegoldinvestments.com. Go down there, click on the icon, give them a call, let them know you heard it on Lisa Haven. But thank you again, Colin, for coming on. I truly appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
And thank you guys. I'm Lisa Haven, and that's Colin Plume signing out.